Welcome to today's Explainer. We're diving into something that is literally shaking the foundations of one of the world's oldest and most lucrative professions, corporate law. Specifically, we're looking at how artificial intelligence is completely upending the traditional legal model by taking dead aim at a universally dreaded, highly tedious task known as doc review. Even if you aren't a lawyer, you're going to want to stick around for this because it's a masterclass in how AI is rapidly coming for all white-collar work. If you've ever wondered why legal bills are just so astronomically high, or how technology is fundamentally restructuring the modern office right before our eyes, well, you're in the perfect place.
Section 1. The end of doc review. The most painful part of corporate law.
Okay, let's dive into this. Ask literally any junior associate about doc review, and they'll probably just stare blankly into the middle distance before telling you about poring over thousands of documents just to find a single relevant clause. It's this exhausting, mind-numbing, and incredibly expensive rite of passage. But get this, global consulting firm McKinsey reports that nearly 25% of a lawyer's job could be automated using current technologies. That means that painful daily grind is simply going to vanish. Take this number, for instance, 360,000. That is the staggering amount of man-hours that human lawyers used to spend every single year reviewing 12,000 commercial credit agreements at JPMorgan Chase. Just think about the sheer volume of human effort, the late nights, the stale coffee, and the endless billable hours, all packed into that massive investment of time.
But look at the reality of where we are today. Seconds. That's it. New software can now review that exact same volume of 12,000 contracts in mere seconds. The contrast between 360,000 hours and a few seconds isn't just a minor efficiency upgrade, it's a total paradigm shift that absolutely shatters the traditional economics of legal work.
Which brings us to a really fascinating tension in the industry. Traditional law relies heavily on billable hours and manual database searches. It's highly expensive for clients, meaning essentially the longer a task takes, the more money the firm makes. AI-driven law, however, introduces flat efficiency, predictive analytics, and automated document review. So we've got some seriously misaligned incentives here. Clients are naturally demanding lower costs, right? But law firms want to protect those lucrative billable hours. In fact, one academic study noted that just adopting existing machine learning tools could reduce lawyers' billable hours by about 13% overnight.
Section 2. JPMorgan's COiN revolution. A bank's side project spells disruption.
What's truly ironic here is where this massive push for efficiency originally came from. It wasn't some prestigious white-shoe law firm that spearheaded this disruption to legal workflows. It was a bank. JPMorgan basically built this technology as a side project to solve its own internal scaling problems and cut down its massive legal expenses. They developed COiN, which stands for Contract Intelligence. It's an automated document review software that uses unsupervised machine learning. By digesting mountains of data from the bank's own historical contracts, it actually learns to identify patterns and categorize repeated clauses into one of about 150 different attributes. It doesn't just do a simple keyword search. It mathematically maps out the structure and context of the agreements.
And the strategic importance of this for the financial giant really cannot be overstated. Matt Zames, who was the chief operating officer of JPMorgan Chase at the time, specifically highlighted this exact capability in the bank's 2016 annual report. This wasn't just some minor IT update to make life a bit easier. It was a cornerstone of their massive $9.5 billion technology budget. That shows a deep structural commitment to optimizing their operations through machine learning.
The impact of COiN goes way beyond just speed. Sure, it extracts 150 attributes from 12,000 agreements in seconds, but the most astounding part? The algorithm is actually more accurate than human lawyers. To put that into perspective, roughly 80% of loan servicing errors used to be caused by human contract interpretation mistakes. COiN drastically cuts down on those errors. And because it's been such a wild success, they are already expanding its use to much more complex filings like credit default swaps.
Section 3. Expanding the legal tech arsenal. Beyond basic contracts.
Now, this revolution certainly isn't confined to a single bank's credit agreements. We're seeing a massive expansion of the legal tech arsenal, venturing into the realm of highly complex, multimodal enterprise documents. For example, take Doc LLM. This is a layout-aware, generative large language model developed by JPMorgan AI Research. You see, enterprise documents aren't just plain text paragraphs. They have complex spatial layouts, tables, graphs, multi-column formats, the whole shebang. Doc LLM is designed for multimodal document understanding. That means it incorporates both the textual semantics, the actual words, and the visual spatial layout to truly comprehend the document exactly like a human reader would.
And this brilliantly illustrates a much broader shift that the academic and legal communities have officially recognized. Just look at the 2025 focus of the International Journal of Legal Science and Innovation. The industry is universally acknowledging that AI's applications are fundamentally changing the practice of corporate law. It's no longer a fringe concept debated at tech conferences. It is literally the central focus of legal science today.
To really understand how widespread this is, let's look at how different platforms are cornering specific legal domains. You have Cura Systems, which uses machine learning to extract contract clauses specifically for M&A due diligence, automatically flagging corporate risks. Then there's Lexis+ AI and Ross. They provide contextual legal research, meaning they understand the intent behind a lawyer's query rather than just matching up keywords. And Lex Machina uses historical case data for predictive litigation forecasting. They are literally predicting how long a court case might take and even how specific judges might rule.
Section 4. The bottom line benefits. Why firms are adopting AI. Let's move to and see how this builds.
Because you might be wondering, why are highly traditional conservative law firms adopting AI at such a breakneck pace? Well, simply put, the financial and operational incentives are just too massive to ignore. If you don't adopt this, your competitors will, and they'll completely outprice you. Deloitte reported a massive 20 to 40% reduction in due diligence review time using Cura Systems. The international giant Allen & Overy, they saw an astonishing 80% reduction in drafting time for regulatory documents using a tool called Margin Matrix. And it's not just legal and consulting firms either. The global brand L'Oreal streamlined their entire in-house contract lifecycle management using AI. The efficiency gains across the board are completely undeniable.
Section 5. The ethical black box. The risks of machine justice. So, the crucial point is,
Opening that ethical black box reveals that automating these high-stakes workflows isn't just an impressive technical achievement. It introduces some really dense ethical hurdles that the industry is scrambling to figure out. First, there's algorithmic bias and fairness. If the historical data used to train the AI has inherent biases, well, the AI's risk assessments are going to reflect that. Second, data privacy and GDPR compliance. This becomes a massive hurdle when you start feeding highly sensitive corporate documents into cloud-based models. Third is the black box transparency problem itself. Deep learning models make decisions in ways that humans can't easily interpret, which naturally leads us to the biggest question of all, accountability. If a black box AI misses a critical liability clause in a billion-dollar merger, who is legally liable? The software developer? The lawyer? The firm itself? We're dealing with incredibly powerful tools, but we still lack clear regulatory answers.
Section 6. The AI Augmented Lawyer. Collaboration, not replacement. Because of these massive hurdles, we definitely aren't looking at the sudden extinction of the human lawyer. Instead, we're entering the era of the AI-augmented lawyer, where daily workflows change for sure, but the human element remains absolutely vital. When we contrast machine expertise with human expertise, the divide becomes crystal clear. Machines are unparalleled at pattern identification, classification, sheer speed, and massive data processing. But the law is dynamic. It requires human expertise, lateral thinking, reasoning by analogy, ethical judgment, and complex negotiation. Very often, solving a novel legal challenge requires a human to creatively borrow a doctrine from one area of law and apply it to a completely new challenge in another, something machines currently really struggle to do.
Which brings us to this incredibly poignant quote from Harvard Business School's Technology and Operations Management Forum. Until algorithms start earning JDs, much of attorneys' work will be safe. You see, the legal profession is uniquely protected. It maintains a human monopoly, enforced by judges, bar associations, and accreditation standards that strictly require licensed human professionals to practice law.
But as AI models grow exponentially more capable at reasoning, logic, and synthesis, it leaves us with one final, highly provocative question to ponder. Will algorithms ever earn JDs? Will the professional monopolies of accreditation hold up against technology that is consistently faster, cheaper, and increasingly more accurate than human practitioners? It's a question that every professional, not just those in the legal field, is going to have to face in the coming decade. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and I will see you next time.